She had 8 children, but when doctors looked closer, they discovered something terrifying. Imagine having the joy of bringing 8 beautiful children into the world, only for a shocking discovery to turn everything upside down. What did the doctors find that left everyone speechless? Stick around to find out. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you never miss these incredible stories. The morning sun cast long shadows through the Venetian blinds of Phoenix Memorial Hospital's maternity ward, painting stripes of golden light across Sarah Stevens' hospital bed. At 37 years old, Sarah had always imagined herself surrounded by children, but never in her wildest dreams had she envisioned becoming a mother to 8 babies at once. Her hand rested protectively over her swollen belly as she watched the morning nurses change shifts, their whispered conversations and gentle footsteps creating a soothing rhythm that had become familiar over the past few weeks. "Good morning, Miracle Mama," called out Nurse Jenny, a perpetually cheerful woman with silver-streaked hair and laugh lines around her eyes. She had been Sarah's primary nurse since her admission to the high-risk pregnancy unit 3 weeks ago. "How are our little ones doing today?" Sarah managed a tired smile, feeling the familiar flutter of multiple kicks and movements within her. "Active as ever," she replied, "especially during the night. I swear they're having their own little party in there." The journey to this moment had been anything but simple. After 5 years of fertility treatments, countless disappointed tears, and moments of near giving up, Sarah and her husband Michael had finally received the news that would forever alter their lives. Not only was Sarah pregnant, but she was carrying octuplets, 8 tiny lives growing within her, defying medical odds and statistics. Their 7-year-old daughter Emma, conceived naturally years before their fertility struggles began, had taken the news of her impending siblings with a mixture of excitement and wide-eyed disbelief. "Will they all fit in our house?" she had asked, her brown eyes serious as she contemplated the logistics of 8 new babies. As Sarah lay in her hospital bed that morning, she reflected on the whirlwind that had followed their extraordinary news. The local media had descended upon their modest Phoenix suburban home like a swarm of curious bees, eager to document what they dubbed the Arizona octuplet miracle. Television crews camped outside their house, leading Michael to install new curtains for privacy. Their phone rang constantly with interview requests from national morning shows and magazine reporters. But behind the sensational headlines and public fascination lay a more complex reality. Dr. Rachel Martinez, the lead perinatologist overseeing Sarah's case, had been cautiously optimistic but frank about the risks involved. "Multiple births of this magnitude are extremely rare," she had explained during their first consultation. "We need to monitor every aspect of your pregnancy with utmost care." The medical team assembled to care for Sarah and her unborn children was impressive, a testament to the complexity of her case. Dr. Martinez had brought together specialists from across the country, transforming Sarah's pregnancy into a collaborative medical effort that would later be documented in prestigious medical journals. Michael, a high school chemistry teacher with a gentle demeanor and patient soul, had taken a leave of absence to support his family through this unprecedented time. He spent his days shuttling between the hospital and their home, maintaining some semblance of normalcy for Emma while being Sarah's steadfast support system. "Remember when we used to pray for just one baby?" Sarah asked Michael one evening as they watched the sunset from her hospital room. The Phoenix sky had erupted in brilliant shades of purple and orange, a daily spectacle that had become their private moment of peace. Michael squeezed her hand, his wedding ring catching the fading light. "And now we're getting a baseball team," he joked, though his eyes betrayed the mixture of joy and concern they both carried. At 32 weeks pregnant, Sarah's body began showing signs of early labor. The hospital corridor erupted into organized chaos as medical teams mobilized with practiced precision. 8 separate teams of neonatal specialists stood ready, each assigned to care for one precious life about to enter the world. The cesarean section delivery was scheduled for 7 o'clock in the morning. Sarah was wheeled into the operating room, which had been specially prepared for this extraordinary birth. The usual surgical team had been tripled in size to accommodate the complexity of delivering 8 babies safely. "Ready to meet your little ones?" Dr. Martinez asked, her eyes crinkling above her surgical mask. Sarah nodded, tears already forming in her eyes as Michael, dressed in full surgical attire, took his place beside her head. The next 45 minutes would become a blur of gentle surgical commands, soft baby cries, and tears of joy. One by one, 8 tiny lives entered the world: Hope, Faith, Grace, Joy, Noah, Ethan, Lucas, and Matthew. Each baby was immediately whisked away to their designated medical team for evaluation and care, their first moments of life carefully monitored and documented. The initial euphoria of the successful delivery lingered in the air like morning mist, but as the first 48 hours passed, subtle changes began to emerge that would reshape the Stevens family's journey. Dr. Rachel Martinez stood at her office window, holding 8 separate medical charts, her practiced eyes scanning through preliminary test results that made her heart sick. Something wasn't right. The first indication came during Hope's routine newborn examination. Dr. James Chun, the pediatric specialist, noticed subtle irregularities in her physical development that hadn't been visible on prenatal ultrasounds. Her fingers showed unusual patterns of movement, and her reflexes didn't follow typical newborn responses. Within hours, Faith exhibited similar characteristics, prompting an immediate expansion of testing for all 8 babies. Mr. and Mrs. Stevens, Dr. Martinez began, her voice gentle as she sat with the exhausted but happy parents in the hospital's private consultation room. "We've found some patterns in the baby's development that we need to discuss." Michael instinctively reached for Sarah's hand, both sensing the weight in the doctor's words. The medical team had discovered a rare genetic marker present in varying degrees in all 8 babies. The condition, so uncommon it had only been documented in 27 cases worldwide, affected the development of nerve endings and muscle tissue. 2 of the babies, Hope and Faith, showed more pronounced symptoms, while their siblings exhibited milder variations of the same genetic pattern. Sarah's world seemed to spin on its axis as she processed the information. "But they looked perfect on all the ultrasounds," she whispered, her voice breaking. "How could we not have known?" Dr. Martinez explained that the condition's subtle nature made it nearly impossible to detect prenatally. "We're actually fortunate to have caught it so early," she assured them. "Early intervention can make a significant difference in outcomes." The next few days became a blur of specialist consultations, genetic counseling sessions, and tears shed in quiet hospital corners. Michael took to carrying a small notebook, methodically documenting every medical term, treatment option, and question that arose. His scientific mind sought patterns, solutions, anything that might help their children. Word of the baby's condition leaked to the media, transforming what had been a story of miracle births into something more complex. The hospital's public relations team worked overtime to protect the family's privacy, but Sarah could feel the weight of public attention shifting from celebration to speculation. Emma, their 7-year-old daughter, proved to be an unexpected source of strength. During her visits to meet her new siblings, she showed an intuitive understanding that belied her years. "They're just special," she declared matter-of-factly, gently touching each tiny hand through the incubator openings. "Like my friend Jamie, who has a special chair at school. We just need to help them differently." The medical team expanded to include specialists from across the globe. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, a leading geneticist from Japan, flew in to consult on the case, bringing with her groundbreaking research on similar genetic variations. Dr. Sophia Patel, a pioneering neurologist from London, joined the team virtually, offering insights from her work with rare genetic disorders. Sarah spent her days moving between the NICU pods where her 8 babies lay, each in their own incubator. She learned to read the various monitors, understanding the patterns of heart rates and oxygen levels. The nurses taught her specialized holding techniques, showing her how to support each baby's unique needs. She began keeping a journal, documenting every small victory: Matthew's first successful feeding, Lucas's strong grip on her finger, Grace's alert eyes tracking movement. The community response was overwhelming. Local churches organized prayer circles, neighbors established meal trains, and Emma's school started a fundraising campaign to help with medical expenses. Sarah's sister Rachel, a professional photographer, began documenting the family's journey, capturing both the challenges and the beautiful moments of connection. Michael threw himself into research, spending late nights in the hospital's medical library and consulting with genetics experts online. His background in chemistry proved unexpectedly valuable as he worked to understand the complex molecular interactions involved in their children's condition. "There has to be a solution," he would murmur. Surrounded by medical journals and research papers, Dr. Martinez assembled a comprehensive treatment plan, incorporating both traditional and experimental approaches. Physical therapy would begin immediately, with specialized techniques adapted for premature infants. A groundbreaking stem cell treatment, still in clinical trials, showed promise for addressing nerve development issues. The daily routine became a carefully choreographed dance of medical procedures, therapy sessions, and precious moments of family bonding. Sarah learned to celebrate the smallest improvements: a stronger cry, a more coordinated sucking reflex, a moment of alert eye contact. Each baby developed their own personality, visible even through the medical equipment that surrounded them. Hope, the firstborn, showed a fierce determination that seemed to defy her physical challenges. Faith possessed a calm demeanor that made her therapy sessions more manageable. Grace developed a distinctive cry that the nurses could recognize across the NICU. Joy lived up to her name, with bright eyes that seemed to light up during family visits. Noah proved to be a fighter, often exceeding developmental expectations. Ethan showed remarkable adaptability to various treatments. Lucas demonstrated strong social responses, reacting positively to voice and touch. Matthew, the smallest, possessed an inner strength that continually amazed his caregivers. As winter gave way to spring in Phoenix, the Stevens family began to discover the unique rhythms of their extraordinary life. Each of the 8 babies developed distinct personalities that shone through their medical challenges, bringing both joy and new insights to their care team. Hope, true to her name, continued to surpass expectations with each passing week. Her physical therapy sessions, though challenging, revealed a determination that left her therapists in awe. "She's got the heart of a warrior," observed Lisa Chin, the lead pediatric physical therapist, as Hope pushed through another session. Despite her smaller size, she was often the first to reach new milestones, her dark eyes focused intently on each task. Faith developed what the nurses called a sixth sense for comfort. Whenever one of her siblings showed signs of distress in the NICU, she would become more active in her own incubator, as if trying to reach out to them. This extraordinary connection between the octuplets became a subject of fascination for the medical team, who began documenting these instances of apparent synchronicity. The experimental treatment protocol, designed specifically for their unique case, started showing promising results by the 3rd month. Dr. Martinez's team had developed a combination of traditional physical therapy, cutting-edge stem cell treatments, and specialized nutritional support that seemed to address many of their developmental challenges. "What we're seeing here," Dr. Martinez explained during a presentation to the hospital's medical board, "is unprecedented in the field of genetic medicine. These 8 children are actually teaching us new ways to approach similar conditions." Her research paper on the Stevens octuplets was already generating significant interest in the medical community, with specialists from around the world requesting access to their treatment protocols. Sarah and Michael's home had transformed into something resembling a small medical facility. The living room now housed specialized equipment for physical therapy sessions, while the dining room had become a makeshift medical supply station. Emma, showing remarkable maturity, had taken to organizing the color-coded feeding schedules and medication charts. "Sometimes I pretend I'm running a hospital," Emma confided to her mother one evening, carefully arranging the next day's supplies. "But it's the best hospital ever because all the patients are my brothers and sisters." Her innocent perspective often provided the emotional anchor her parents needed during particularly challenging days. The community's support continued to evolve in beautiful and unexpected ways. A local construction company, touched by the family's story, offered to renovate their home to better accommodate the children's medical needs. Volunteers from various churches took turns staffing a meal delivery service, ensuring the family had hot, nutritious food every evening. A group of retired nurses established a rotating schedule to help with night shifts, allowing Sarah and Michael precious hours of rest. Grace's breakthrough came during a music therapy session. The therapist, noticing her strong response to classical music, developed a program incorporating Mozart into her physical therapy routine. The improvement in her muscle coordination was remarkable, leading to the integration of music therapy into all 8 babies' treatment plans. Joy lived up to her name more each day, developing a laugh that could light up the entire ward. Her infectious happiness seemed to have a positive effect on her siblings, and the medical team began strategically placing the babies near each other during treatment sessions to capitalize on their apparent ability to boost each other's moods. Noah's progress in physical therapy became a source of hope for other families in the NICU. His ability to overcome initial feeding difficulties through a combination of traditional and innovative techniques led to the development of new protocols that benefited other premature infants. The nursing staff nicknamed him the Pioneer for his role in helping them refine their approaches. Ethan revealed an extraordinary sensitivity to touch therapy. His response to specialized massage techniques designed to stimulate nerve development was so positive that it led to modifications in the treatment plans for all 8 babies. Dr. Tanaka, during her monthly video consultations, frequently referenced his case as an example of the importance of individualized care approaches. Lucas developed what the physical therapists called social healing, showing marked improvements in his physical therapy sessions when his siblings were nearby. This observation led to the creation of group therapy sessions, carefully choreographed to allow the octuplets to benefit from each other's presence while receiving individual attention. Matthew, though still the smallest, demonstrated remarkable resilience. His ability to maintain body temperature improved steadily, and his feeds became stronger with each passing week. The nurses often found him alert and observant during their rounds, his eyes tracking their movements with an intelligence that seemed beyond his months. Sarah began documenting their journey in a blog, sharing both the challenges and triumphs with a growing online community of supporters and other families facing similar medical challenges. Her honest, heartfelt posts about the realities of raising medically complex multiples resonated with readers worldwide, creating a support network that extended far beyond their Phoenix community. Michael's role evolved as well. His background in chemistry proved invaluable as he worked with the medical team to understand and fine-tune the baby's nutritional needs. He developed spreadsheets tracking each child's response to various treatments, creating data patterns that helped the medical team optimize their care protocols. The 1-year mark approached with both celebration and reflection. The medical team organized a comprehensive evaluation of each child's progress, comparing their development against initial projections. The results were encouraging. While challenges remained, the innovative treatments and dedicated care had yielded results far beyond initial expectations. As the Stevens family approached the milestone of their children's first birthday, the medical community was abuzz with the implications of their groundbreaking case. Dr. Martinez had compiled their treatment data into what would become a seminal paper in the field of genetic medicine, titled Novel Approaches to Genetic Developmental Disorders: Insights from the Stevens Octuplets Case. The living room of their renovated home had become a testament to both medical necessity and familial warmth. 8 specialized therapy stations were artfully integrated into the decor, while family photos chronicled the incredible journey of their first year. The walls, painted in soothing sage green, displayed growth charts for each child, marked with colorful stickers celebrating every milestone achieved. "It's remarkable," Dr. Sophia Patel observed during her first in-person visit from London. "Each child has responded to the treatments in unique ways, yet there's a clear pattern of mutual support that seems to accelerate their progress." She had flown in specifically to participate in the 1-year assessment symposium being held at Phoenix Memorial Hospital. The symposium attracted medical specialists from 17 countries, all eager to learn from the Stevens case. Sarah and Michael found themselves at the center of a medical revolution they had never anticipated. Their children's journey was helping to reshape understanding of genetic disorders and early intervention strategies. Hope, now showing signs of crawling, had developed a determination that inspired even veteran physical therapists. During one memorable session, she surprised everyone by pulling herself up to a standing position using her therapy bar, a milestone that had seemed months away. The video of this moment would later be shown at medical conferences as an example of the potential for exceeding traditional developmental expectations. Faith continued to demonstrate her extraordinary empathic abilities. Nurses documented numerous instances where she would become agitated moments before one of her siblings showed signs of distress, leading to a fascinating study on the potential neurological connections between multiples. Her ability to sense her siblings' needs had become so reliable that the medical team often used her reactions as an early warning system. The specialized music therapy program, initially developed for Grace, had evolved into a comprehensive treatment protocol being adopted by NICUs across the country. Grace's response to different musical compositions was carefully documented, creating a database correlating musical elements with physical and neurological development. Joy's infectious happiness had become a subject of psychological study. Researchers from the University of Arizona's Child Development Center began regular observations, fascinated by the positive impact her emotional state had on her physical progress. Their preliminary findings suggested a strong correlation between emotional well-being and physiological development in cases of genetic disorders. Noah's pioneering spirit continued to shine through his therapy sessions. He had become the first of the octuplets to master modified tummy time, leading to new insights into core strength development in infants with similar conditions. Physical therapists recorded his sessions, creating training materials for other rehabilitation centers working with genetically challenged infants. Ethan's sensitivity to touch therapy had led to the development of what became known as the Stevens Protocol, a specialized approach to tactile stimulation that showed promising results in other cases of genetic nerve development disorders. Medical centers in Europe and Asia began implementing variations of this protocol, reporting encouraging preliminary results. Lucas's social healing phenomenon sparked a new area of research in group therapy approaches for multiples with genetic conditions. The sibling sync theory, as it came to be known in medical circles, suggested that the presence of genetically identical siblings could create a supportive environment that enhanced physical therapy outcomes. Matthew, though still the smallest, had become a symbol of resilience in the medical community. His consistent progress, despite initial predictions, challenged existing assumptions about development potential in cases of genetic nerve disorders. A chapter in Dr. Martinez's upcoming textbook would be dedicated to his case, titled Redefining Possibilities, the Matthew Stevens Case Study. Sarah's blog had evolved into a comprehensive resource for families facing similar challenges. Her detailed accounts of daily life, therapeutic approaches, and emotional challenges resonated with readers worldwide. Publishers approached her about turning her experiences into a book, seeing the potential to help countless other families navigating similar journeys. Michael's analytical approach to their children's care had led to the development of a sophisticated tracking system for multiple birth medical cases. Hospitals across the country began adopting his spreadsheet templates, modified to help other families and medical teams monitor complex care scenarios. Emma, now 8, had become an unexpected advocate for special needs awareness at her school. She gave a presentation to her third-grade class about her siblings, explaining with remarkable clarity how being different didn't mean being less special. Her teacher later shared the video with other schools, using it as a tool for teaching empathy and understanding. The family's home routine had developed its own beautiful rhythm. Mornings began with physical therapy sessions, each child working with their specialized equipment while Sarah and Michael moved between stations, offering encouragement and support. The afternoon brought music therapy, with classical melodies floating through the house as each child responded in their unique way to the carefully selected compositions. Community support continued to evolve in meaningful ways. A local tech company developed a custom app to help coordinate the various volunteer schedules, medical appointments, and therapy sessions. The Neighborhood Watch expanded its role to include monitoring media presence, protecting the family's privacy while allowing them to share their story on their own terms. As the Stevens family entered their second year of this extraordinary journey, new challenges and triumphs emerged that would further reshape their understanding of medical possibilities. The custom app developed by the local tech company had evolved into a comprehensive care management system dubbed OctoCore, which was now being tested in other hospitals dealing with complex multiple birth cases. Sarah's morning routine had become a masterclass in precision logistics. Starting at 5:30 each morning, she would begin the carefully orchestrated process of preparing for the day's therapy sessions. The kitchen counter displayed 8 color-coded medication stations, each representing one of her children's specific needs. Michael had installed a digital monitoring system that tracked each child's daily progress, medication schedules, and therapy responses, sending real-time updates to their medical team. "We're not just parents anymore," Sarah reflected during an interview for a medical documentary. "We've become researchers, therapists, and advocates all rolled into one. Her words would later be quoted in medical journals as a testament to the changing landscape of family involvement in complex genetic cases. The children's second year brought remarkable developments in their individual journeys. Hope, living up to her name once again, achieved a breakthrough in her physical therapy that challenged existing medical paradigms. During a routine session, she demonstrated an ability to compensate for her nerve development issues by creating alternative neural pathways, a discovery that Dr. Martinez immediately recognized as groundbreaking. What we're seeing in Hope's case, Dr. Martinez explained during a packed medical conference in Boston, is evidence of neuroplasticity beyond what we previously thought possible in cases of genetic nerve disorders. Her presentation included detailed brain scans showing Hope's unique neural adaptations, sparking intense interest from neurology departments worldwide. Faith's empathic abilities continue to evolve in ways that fascinated researchers. Dr. Catherine Wong, a specialist in twin and multiple birth psychology from Stanford University, began a dedicated study of what she termed the Faith phenomenon. The study documented countless instances where Faith's reactions preceded medical events in her siblings, leading to new theories about neurological connections in multiple births. Grace's music therapy program had expanded into a full-scale research project. The Grace Protocol, as it became known in rehabilitation circles, combined classical music with specific physical therapy movements, creating a symphony of healing that showed promising results in other genetic cases. A renowned composer had even created a special series of therapeutic compositions based on the frequencies that showed the most positive responses in Grace's development. Joy's infectious happiness had become a focal point for research into the connection between emotional states and physical healing. Dr. James Chun, who had been with the family since the beginning, published a paper titled The Joy Effect: Emotional Resonance in Genetic Recovery, which explored how her positive emotional state appeared to accelerate her physical progress and influence her siblings' development. Noah continued to break new ground in physical therapy achievements. His ability to adapt to modified exercise equipment led to the development of specialized pediatric rehabilitation tools, now known as Noah's Gear. A medical equipment company had begun producing these designs for distribution to children's hospitals nationwide. Ethan's remarkable response to touch therapy had evolved into a comprehensive sensory integration program. The Ethan method combined traditional physical therapy with carefully calibrated sensory stimulation, showing unprecedented results in improving nerve response and muscle coordination. Hospitals in Japan and Germany had begun implementing variations of this protocol, reporting significant success rates. Lucas's social healing abilities had expanded to influence not just his siblings, but other children in therapy sessions. The hospital had started a program called Lucas's Circle, where children with similar conditions would participate in group therapy sessions, capitalizing on the positive effects of peer interaction that Lucas had demonstrated so effectively. Matthew, still the smallest but arguably the most determined, had developed what his physical therapists called micro-movements, tiny but precise muscle controls that allowed him to achieve tasks in unique ways. His adaptive strategies became the subject of a specialized study in pediatric rehabilitation, exploring how children with genetic challenges could develop alternative movement patterns. The family's home continued to evolve with their needs. The local construction company, inspired by the ongoing success of their initial renovation, had returned to install a specialized therapy pool in the backyard. The water, maintained at a precise therapeutic temperature, provided a new medium for physical therapy that proved especially beneficial for muscle development. Emma, now in 4th grade, had started a school club called Extraordinary Siblings, creating a support network for other children who had brothers or sisters with special needs. Her initiative caught the attention of the school district, leading to the program's adoption across multiple elementary schools in Phoenix. Michael's role in the medical community had expanded significantly. His background in chemistry, combined with 2 years of intensive experience with genetic disorders, led to his collaboration with researchers developing new therapeutic compounds. His unique perspective as both a scientist and a father provided valuable insights into the practical applications of various treatments. The documentary team that had been following their journey released their first film, titled 8 Miracles: The Stevens Story, which premiered at several medical conferences before being picked up by a major streaming service. The film not only chronicled their journey but served as an educational tool for medical students and families facing similar challenges. Sarah's blog had transformed into a global support network, with translations available in 12 languages. Her detailed accounts of their daily victories and challenges provided hope and practical guidance to families worldwide. A publishing house had contracted her to write a comprehensive guide for families navigating complex medical journeys with multiple children. The success of 8 Miracles, the Stevens story, sparked a global conversation about genetic research in family-centered medical care. Hospitals from Singapore to Switzerland began implementing protocols inspired by the Stevens case, while research universities worldwide launched studies examining various aspects of their groundbreaking journey. As their third year approached, the family's influence on medical science continued to expand in unexpected ways. The therapeutic pool in their backyard had become a prototype for a new generation of rehabilitation facilities. Engineers from a leading medical equipment manufacturer spent months studying the custom modifications Michael had designed, leading to the development of what they called adaptive aquatic therapy pods, specialized rehabilitation pools now being installed in pediatric centers across 5 continents. Sarah's morning routine had evolved into what medical professionals termed the symphony of care, a precisely orchestrated series of treatments, exercises, and therapeutic activities that maximized each child's potential while maintaining the crucial family bonds that had proven so vital to their progress. Medical students now studied recordings of these morning sessions, learning how to integrate complex care protocols into family life. What's remarkable, noted Dr. Elena Rodriguez, a visiting specialist from Barcelona's premier genetic research center, is how the Stevens family has transformed what could have been merely a medical case study into a complete paradigm shift in how we approach genetic therapy. Her observation would later become the opening line of a landmark paper on family-integrated genetic treatment. Hope's neuroplasticity continued to astonish the medical community. Her brain scans revealed increasingly complex neural adaptations, leading to the establishment of the Hope Initiative, a multi-university research project studying adaptive neurological responses in genetic conditions. Researchers from Johns Hopkins to Oxford University collaborated on understanding the mechanisms behind her remarkable progress. Faith's empathic abilities had developed to such an extent that the hospital created a specialized study protocol around her interactions with her siblings. The Faith Connection study documented over 300 instances of preemptive responses to her siblings' needs, leading to new theories about neurological synchronicity in multiple births. The findings were revolutionizing understanding of twin and multiple birth psychology. Grace's music therapy protocol had expanded into a full-fledged therapeutic movement, with conservatories of music now offering specialized courses in medical music composition. The Grace harmonics, as they became known, combined specific musical frequencies with physical therapy movements, creating a new field at the intersection of musicology and rehabilitation medicine. Joy's influence on emotional healing had led to the creation of the Joy Factor, a measured scale of positive emotional impact on physical recovery. Hospitals began incorporating her story into their pediatric care protocols, recognizing the crucial role of emotional well-being in physical healing. Child life specialists studied her case to better understand how to foster resilience in young patients. Noah's innovative approach to physical therapy had inspired a complete redesign of pediatric rehabilitation equipment. Noah's Gear had evolved into a comprehensive line of adaptive therapy tools, each piece designed to accommodate the unique needs of children with genetic conditions. The equipment was now standard in pediatric rehabilitation centers worldwide. Ethan's sensory integration breakthroughs had led to the development of the Ethan Protocol, a sophisticated approach to nervous system rehabilitation that combined touch therapy with targeted sensory stimulation. Medical centers in 27 countries had adopted variations of this protocol, reporting significant improvements in patients with similar genetic conditions. Lucas's social healing phenomenon had grown into a recognized therapeutic approach. The Lucas method of group therapy was being implemented in rehabilitation centers globally, with studies confirming the positive effects of peer interaction on physical recovery. His case had become required reading in pediatric psychology programs. Matthew's micromovement techniques had revolutionized approaches to muscle development in genetic therapy. The Matthew methodology focused on leveraging minimal muscle control to achieve maximum functionality, changing expectations for children with similar conditions. Physical therapists worldwide studied his adaptive strategies, implementing them in their own practices. Emma, now entering 5th grade, had become an unexpected voice in the medical community. Her presentations on living with siblings with special needs had been developed into a curriculum used in children's hospitals to help families adjust to similar situations. Her perspective as a young sibling provided invaluable insights into family dynamics in complex medical cases. The Stevens home had transformed into what medical professionals called a living laboratory of hope. The constant refinement of care techniques, combined with the family's natural warmth, created an environment that perfectly balanced medical necessity with emotional nurturing. Architects specializing in medical facilities regularly visited to study how the space had been optimized for both care and comfort. Michael's collaboration with researchers had led to breakthroughs in therapeutic compound development. His unique position as both scientist and father provided invaluable insights into the practical applications of various treatments. Several pharmaceutical companies had begun developing medications based on his observations of his children's responses to different therapeutic approaches. Sarah's Guide for Families Navigating Complex Medical Journeys had become a bestseller in the medical literature category, translated into 23 languages. The book combined practical advice with emotional support, helping countless families worldwide face similar challenges with greater confidence and knowledge. The impact of their journey extended beyond medicine into public policy. Several states had begun reforming their healthcare guidelines based on the Stevens case, creating more comprehensive support systems for families dealing with complex genetic conditions. The Stevens Standard became shorthand for family-centered medical care that integrated cutting-edge treatment with emotional support. The Stevens Standard's influence on healthcare policy had begun to reshape medical systems worldwide. Countries from Canada to Australia were implementing reforms based on their integrated care model, leading to the establishment of specialized centers dedicated to complex genetic cases. The ripple effect of their journey had grown far beyond what anyone could have imagined during those first uncertain days in the Phoenix Memorial Hospital. As the children approached their 4th year, new challenges and opportunities emerged that would further transform the landscape of genetic medicine. The International Medical Conference in Geneva dedicated an entire wing to what they called the Stevens Legacy, a comprehensive exhibition showcasing the medical breakthroughs that had emerged from their case. What we're witnessing, Dr. Martinez explained during her keynote address at the conference, is not just 8 individual medical cases, but a complete revolution in how we approach genetic therapy. Her presentation included real-time data from 37 countries where Stevens-inspired protocols have been implemented, showing remarkable improvements in patient outcomes. The family's daily routine had evolved into what medical professionals now called synchronized adaptive care, a holistic approach that balanced individual needs with group dynamics. Their morning sessions have become legendary in medical circles, with doctors and therapists traveling from around the world to observe what they considered the perfect integration of medical care and family life. Hope's neurological adaptations continued to break new ground. Her brain's ability to create alternative neural pathways had led to the establishment of the Hope Neuroplasticity Institute, a research center dedicated to understanding and replicating her remarkable adaptations. Neuroscientists from leading institutions collaborated on mapping these unprecedented neural developments. Faith's empathic abilities had evolved to such a sophisticated level that researchers created a new field of study called multiple birth neurological synchronicity. Her capacity to anticipate her siblings' needs had expanded beyond physical symptoms to include emotional states, leading to groundbreaking discoveries about brain-to-brain communication in multiple births. Grace's musical therapy protocols had developed into a comprehensive treatment system adopted by rehabilitation centers worldwide. The Grace Harmony method combines specific musical frequencies with targeted physical therapy, creating what therapists called a symphony of healing. Conservatories began offering specialized degrees in therapeutic composition based on her case. Joy's influence on emotional healing had led to the development of what researchers termed emotional resonance therapy. Her natural ability to boost her siblings' moods had been scientifically quantified, leading to new understanding of the relationship between emotional states and physical recovery. Hospitals worldwide began incorporating happiness metrics into their treatment protocols. Noah's adaptive equipment designs had revolutionized pediatric rehabilitation technology. Noah's Innovation Lab, a collaboration between medical device manufacturers and rehabilitation specialists, continued to produce groundbreaking therapy tools. His intuitive approach to movement had inspired a new generation of adaptive equipment that responded to patients' natural tendencies. Ethan's sensory integration breakthrough had evolved into a standardized treatment protocol used in rehabilitation centers across 6 continents. The Ethan method had been refined through years of clinical trials, showing unprecedented success rates in improving nerve function and muscle coordination in children with similar genetic conditions. Lucas's social healing phenomenon had grown into a recognized field of study called peer-enhanced recovery. His natural ability to create therapeutic social environments had led to the development of specialized group therapy programs now standard in pediatric rehabilitation centers worldwide. Medical schools added courses specifically studying the social aspects of physical recovery based on his case. Matthew's micromovement techniques had become the foundation for a new approach to physical therapy in genetic cases. The Matthew protocol focused on maximizing the efficiency of minimal muscle control, changing expectations for children with similar conditions. His adaptive strategies were being studied and implemented in rehabilitation programs globally. Emma, now approaching her teenage years, had become an unexpected authority on sibling dynamics in medical families. Her perspective had shaped new approaches to family counseling, and her Extraordinary Siblings program had been adopted by children's hospitals across the country. Her insights continued to influence how medical professionals approached family-centered care. The Stevens home, once modified out of necessity, had become a model for adaptive living spaces. Architects and medical facility designers regularly consulted their layout and modifications when designing new rehabilitation centers. The integration of medical equipment with family living spaces had created a new standard in home-based medical care. Michael's research collaborations had led to breakthroughs in personalized medicine. His observation of his children's varied responses to treatments had inspired a new approach to genetic therapy that emphasized individual adaptation over standardized protocols. Pharmaceutical companies had begun developing medications based on his insights into genetic variation responses. Sarah's role had evolved beyond that of a mother and advocate. She had become a respected voice in the medical community, offering insights that bridged the gap between clinical practice and family experience. Her blog had transformed into a global resource center, providing support and guidance to families navigating similar journeys. The prospect of school integration brought new challenges and opportunities that would further reshape understanding of educational approaches for children with genetic conditions. The local school district had spent months working with the Stevens family and their medical team to develop what would become known as the Adaptive Learning Integration Protocol, or ALIP. Education isn't just about academics anymore, Sarah explained during a school board meeting that would later be viewed as historic in special education circles. It's about creating an environment where medical care, social development, and learning can coexist seamlessly. Her words would become the foundation for a new approach to inclusive education nationwide. The preparation for school integration began with a comprehensive assessment of each child's unique needs. The family's living room, already a marvel of medical adaptation, transformed once again to include educational stations designed to prepare the children for classroom environments. Educational consultants from across the country gathered to observe and contribute to this groundbreaking approach. Pope, always the pioneer, became the first to test the new educational integration system. Her remarkable neuroplasticity had evolved to include cognitive adaptations that challenged existing theories about learning in children with genetic conditions. What we're seeing in Hope's cognitive development, Dr. Martinez noted in her latest research paper, suggests that the brain's ability to create alternative pathways extends beyond physical function to include learning processes. Faith's empathic abilities proved particularly valuable in the classroom setting. Her natural sensitivity to others' emotional states helped teachers develop new approaches to social-emotional learning in inclusive classrooms. The faith factor, as educators began calling it, emphasized the importance of emotional awareness in educational settings. Grace's musical therapy had evolved into a comprehensive educational approach. The Grace Harmony Learning System integrated musical elements into every aspect of learning, from mathematics to language development. Music educators and therapists collaborated to create specialized learning programs that capitalized on the connection between musical processing and cognitive development. Joy's positive influence expanded in the school environment, leading to what teachers call the joy effect in education. Her natural ability to lift others' spirits proved particularly valuable in integrated classrooms, helping typically developing children connect with their peers who had special needs. Schools nationwide began studying how positive emotional environments could enhance learning outcomes for all students. Noah's adaptive equipment designs found new applications in the educational setting. Noah's educational gear emerged as a line of specialized school furniture and learning tools that combined therapeutic support with educational functionality. Schools across the country began adopting these designs in their special education programs. Ethan's sensory integration techniques were incorporated into classroom design. The Ethan environment became a standard term for classrooms equipped with specialized sensory zones that allowed children to maintain optimal arousal levels for learning. Educational architects consulted the Stevens family when designing new inclusive learning spaces. Lucas's social healing abilities flourished in the school setting, leading to the development of social learning circles, a new approach to inclusive education that emphasized peer interaction and support. His natural ability to bridge social gaps between children of different abilities inspired new methods of fostering inclusive school communities. Matthew's micro-movement techniques found unexpected applications in handwriting and fine motor skill development. The Matthew method of adaptive writing instruction began helping children with various motor challenges master essential academic skills. Occupational therapists in schools worldwide adopted his techniques. Emma's role evolved as she entered middle school herself. Her Extraordinary Siblings program expanded to include a peer mentoring component, helping other children understand and support classmates with special needs. Her insights continued to shape how schools approached family involvement in special education. The Stevens home added an educational wing, creating what experts called a living laboratory for inclusive learning. The space seamlessly integrated medical care, therapy, and education, providing a model for schools developing their own inclusive programs. Educational researchers regularly visited to study this revolutionary approach to learning. Michael's scientific background proved invaluable in developing data-driven approaches to educational integration. His systematic analysis of different learning strategies' effectiveness led to the creation of the Stevens Educational Analytics Platform, a tool helping schools track and optimize inclusive education programs. Sarah's advocacy expanded into educational policy. Her experiences helped shape new legislation supporting integrated learning environments. The Stevens Educational Rights Act was introduced in several states, ensuring access to appropriate educational support for children with complex medical needs. The Stevens Educational Rights Act quickly gained momentum across the country, with lawmakers recognizing the urgent need for comprehensive reform in special education. What began as a local initiative in Arizona soon sparked a national movement, transforming how schools approach the integration of medical care and education. We're not just changing education, Sarah testified before a congressional committee on educational reform. We're reimagining what's possible when we truly commit to supporting every child's potential. Her passionate advocacy, backed by years of documented success with her own children, resonated deeply with policymakers and educators alike. The educational wing of the Stevens home had evolved into what experts called the Future Learning Center, attracting attention from educational institutions worldwide. UNESCO representatives visited to study their integrated approach, leading to the development of international guidelines for inclusive education. The space seamlessly blended traditional learning environments with state-of-the-art medical support systems, creating a model that schools across the globe sought to replicate. Hope's cognitive developments continued to break new ground. Her brain's unprecedented adaptability led to the establishment of the Hope Cognitive Research Institute, where neuroscientists and educators collaborated to understand and harness the brain's remarkable capacity for alternative learning pathways. Her case challenged long-held beliefs about cognitive limitations in children with genetic conditions. What we're observing in Hope's neurodevelopment, noted Dr. Sophia Chon, lead researcher at the Institute, suggests that the brain's capacity for adaptation extends far beyond what we previously thought possible. She's not just learning differently, she's showing us new ways that learning itself can happen. Faith's empathic abilities had evolved to influence classroom dynamics in unexpected ways. Teachers reported what they called the faith phenomenon in education, a measurable improvement in classroom cohesion and learning outcomes when using her intuitive approaches to emotional awareness. Schools began incorporating emotional intelligence training based on observations of her natural abilities. Grace's musical learning system expanded into a comprehensive educational methodology. The Grace Harmony Academy opened its doors as the first school specifically designed around the principles of music-integrated learning for children with genetic conditions. The success of this approach led to partnerships with major conservatories and medical centers worldwide. Joy's influence on educational environments had grown beyond individual classrooms. The Joy Protocol became standard practice in special education programs, emphasizing the crucial role of positive emotional states in learning and development. Research showed that classrooms implementing her approach saw significant improvements in both academic performance and social integration. Noah's innovative approach to adaptive learning tools continued to revolutionize educational technology. Noah's Learning Lab, a collaboration between educational technology companies and medical device manufacturers, produced increasingly sophisticated tools that adapted to each child's unique needs. These innovations found applications far beyond special education, benefiting students of all abilities. Ethan's sensory integration techniques transformed classroom design worldwide. The Ethan Environmental Standards became a benchmark for inclusive educational spaces, with architects and designers incorporating his principles into schools globally. His impact extended beyond special education, influencing how all learning spaces were conceived and constructed. Lucas's social learning circles evolved into a comprehensive approach to inclusive education. The Lucas method of peer-supported learning was adopted by schools across 6 continents, demonstrating remarkable success in fostering inclusive communities. His natural ability to bridge social gaps became the foundation for new approaches to student interaction and support. Matthew's adaptive techniques continued to influence educational methodology. The Matthew Movement curriculum expanded beyond handwriting to encompass all aspects of fine motor skill development in education. His approaches helped countless children overcome physical challenges to achieve academic success. Emma, now in her early teens, had become a recognized expert in sibling support systems within educational settings. Her Extraordinary Siblings Network had grown into an international organization, providing support and resources to families navigating similar journeys. Her insights continued to shape how schools approached family involvement in special education. Michael's data-driven approach to educational assessment led to the development of sophisticated tracking systems used by schools worldwide. The Stevens Educational Analytics Platform evolved into a comprehensive tool for monitoring and optimizing inclusive education programs, helping schools ensure that every child received appropriate support. Sarah's advocacy work expanded to include international education policy. She regularly consulted with education ministers from various countries, helping shape global approaches to inclusive education. Her experiences and insights influenced how nations approached the integration of medical care and education in school settings. The Stevens family's influence on global education policy had reached unprecedented levels, with their integrated approach being adopted by educational systems from Singapore to Sweden. The United Nations Educational Summit dedicated an entire week to studying what they termed the Stevens Revolution in inclusive education and medical integration. What began as a family's journey to support their children has become a global movement, declared Dr. Maria Hernandez, UNESCO's Special Representative for Inclusive Education, during the summit's opening ceremony. The Stevens approach has fundamentally changed how we think about potential, ability, and the very purpose of education. The Future Learning Center at the Stevens home had expanded into a sprawling complex that seamlessly integrated educational spaces with medical support facilities. Architectural firms from around the world sent representatives to study its design, leading to the creation of what became known as Stevens Standard Schools, educational facilities built specifically to support the comprehensive development of children with complex medical needs while fostering inclusive learning environments. Hope's cognitive research had led to groundbreaking discoveries in neuroplasticity and learning. The Hope Cognitive Research Institute published findings that revolutionized understanding of brain development in children with genetic conditions. Pope's case proves that the brain's capacity for adaptation is far greater than we ever imagined, reported Dr. James Wilson, lead researcher at the Institute. Our neural pathways continue to evolve in ways that challenge our fundamental understanding of human potential. Faith's empathic abilities had become the foundation for a new field of study in educational psychology. The Faith Empathy Protocol was being implemented in schools across 5 continents, with remarkable results in fostering emotional intelligence and social connection among students of all abilities. Research showed that classrooms using her approach saw significant improvements in both academic performance and social cohesion. The Grace Harmony Academy had expanded into an international network of schools, each implementing the music-integrated learning approach that had proven so successful. Conservatories worldwide had established specialized programs studying the intersection of music, medicine, and education, all inspired by Grace's remarkable response to musical therapy. Joy's influence on educational environments had led to the establishment of the Joy Center for Positive Education, a research facility dedicated to understanding and replicating the remarkable impact of positive emotional states on learning and development. Schools implementing the Joy methodology reported significant improvements in student engagement and academic outcomes. NOAA's adaptive learning technology had evolved into a sophisticated ecosystem of educational tools. The NOAA Innovation Lab continued to push boundaries, developing increasingly advanced systems that could adapt in real time to students' changing needs. These technologies found applications far beyond special education, revolutionizing personalized learning across all educational sectors. Ethan's sensory integration principles had become standard in educational architecture worldwide. The Ethan Design Institute worked with schools and universities to create optimal learning environments that supported students' sensory needs while promoting academic excellence. His impact extended beyond education, influencing how public spaces were designed to accommodate diverse sensory requirements. Lucas's social learning approach had grown into a comprehensive educational philosophy. The Lucas method was being studied in universities worldwide, with researchers documenting its remarkable success in creating truly inclusive learning communities. His natural ability to foster connection among diverse groups of students had inspired new approaches to social development in education. Matthew's adaptive techniques had expanded beyond motor skills to influence entire curricula. The Matthew Learning Framework provided educators with tools to adapt traditional teaching methods for students with diverse physical abilities. His approach emphasized the importance of finding alternative pathways to achievement rather than focusing on limitations. Emma's Extraordinary Siblings Network had grown into a global organization with chapters in 43 countries. Her insights into family dynamics continued to shape how schools approached family support systems. Supporting siblings is just as crucial as supporting students with special needs, she explained during an international education conference. They're an essential part of the success story. Michael's data analytics platform had evolved into a sophisticated artificial intelligence system capable of predicting and optimizing educational outcomes. The Stevens AI helped schools around the world tailor their approaches to individual student needs while maintaining high standards of academic excellence. Sarah's advocacy had reached the highest levels of international policymaking. She regularly consulted with world leaders on educational reform, helping shape global standards for inclusive education. Her experiences and insights continued to influence how nations approach the integration of medical care and education. The impact of their journey had extended far beyond education and medicine, inspiring changes in social policy, urban planning, and public health. Cities worldwide began implementing Stevens standards in public space design, ensuring accessibility and inclusion for all citizens. Their story had become a catalyst for broader societal transformation, demonstrating the profound impact that can emerge from a family's determination to support their children's potential. The Stevens family's influence had grown beyond traditional boundaries of education and medicine, sparking what global leaders began calling the Stevens Revolution in human potential. Their integrated approach to supporting human development had inspired a complete reimagining of how society approaches challenges in health, education, and social inclusion. At the World Economic Forum in Davos, where Sarah and Michael were invited as keynote speakers, World leaders gathered to discuss the implementation of what became known as the Stevens Global Initiative. This ambitious program aimed to create a worldwide network of integrated support centers based on the principles developed through their family's journey. What we've learned, Sarah addressed the assembled leaders, her voice carrying the weight of years of experience, is that the boundaries we've created between medical care, education, and social development are artificial. True human potential emerges when we create systems that support the whole person. Her words resonated through the conference hall, inspiring immediate commitments from 17 nations to implement comprehensive reform programs. The Future Learning Center had evolved into what experts now call the Stevens Institute for Human Development, a sprawling complex that seamlessly integrated medical research, educational innovation, and social support systems. The facility had become a global hub for researchers, educators, and policymakers seeking to understand and implement their revolutionary approach. Hope's cognitive research continued to break new ground, with the discovery of what neuroscientists termed adaptive neural networks, previously unknown patterns of brain development that challenged existing theories of human potential. Hope's brain has shown us that our understanding of human capability was far too limited, explained Dr. Sarah Chen, leading neuroscientist at the Hope Cognitive Research Center. She's not just adapting the challenges, she's creating entirely new pathways for human development. Faith's empathic abilities had led to the establishment of the Global Empathy Initiative, a worldwide program studying and implementing her natural approaches to emotional connection and social development. Schools and medical centers across 6 continents reported unprecedented success in fostering emotional intelligence and social cohesion using her methods. The Grace Harmony Academy had expanded into an international network of centers studying the intersection of music, medicine, and human development. The Grace Protocol had evolved beyond therapy and education, inspiring new approaches to everything from urban planning to workplace design. Cities worldwide began incorporating musical elements into public spaces, creating what urban planners called harmony zones designed to promote well-being and connection. Joy's influence had grown into what sociologists termed the joy effect, a measurable improvement in community outcomes when her principles of positive emotional engagement were implemented in public policy. Governments began incorporating happiness metrics into their development plans, recognizing the profound impact of emotional well-being on societal progress. Noah's technological innovations had revolutionized how society approached adaptive support systems. The Noah platform had evolved into a sophisticated ecosystem of interconnected technologies that could anticipate and respond to individual needs in real time. From smart cities to adaptive workplaces, his influence extended far beyond the original medical and educational applications. Ethan's sensory integration principles have become fundamental to modern architectural design. The Ethan standards were being applied to everything from hospitals to shopping centers, creating environments that supported diverse sensory needs while promoting social inclusion. His impact had transformed how society thought about public space and accessibility. Lucas's social connection methodologies had grown into a comprehensive approach to community building. The Lucas framework was being implemented in urban development projects worldwide, creating neighborhoods and cities designed to foster meaningful connection across diverse populations. His natural ability to bridge social gaps had inspired new approaches to addressing social isolation and building community resilience. Matthew's adaptive techniques had evolved into what experts called Universal Design 2.0, a revolutionary approach to creating products, spaces, and systems that could adapt to any user's needs. His influence had transformed everything from consumer products to public transportation, making accessibility a fundamental aspect of design rather than an afterthought. Emma's Extraordinary Siblings Network had grown into a global movement, with branches in over 100 countries. Her insights into family dynamics and support systems had led to the development of comprehensive family support programs implemented by governments worldwide. Supporting families isn't just about providing services, she explained at a UN conference. It's about creating environments where every family member can thrive. Michael's data analytics platform had evolved into a sophisticated global network connecting researchers, educators, and healthcare providers worldwide. This Stevens Global Network enabled real-time sharing of insights and resources, accelerating the pace of innovation in human development support systems. Sarah's advocacy had reached new heights with the establishment of the Stevens Global Foundation, an organization dedicated to implementing their integrated approach to human development worldwide. The foundation worked with governments, NGOs, and local communities to create sustainable support systems based on their proven methodologies.